Good morning, friends, family, colleagues, supporters, professional connections, and anybody else who happens to stumble across my live stream or video replay. So welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. I'd love to have you. This is where we talk about the unemployment experience from A to Z. For those who aren't familiar with my channel, I was laid off 93 days before my 20-year anniversary. And so I am chronicling the experience of navigating the unemployment system, the job search, interviewing, side projects. Everything is open for discussion. And I'm also open to suggestions for things that you would like to know more about during my experience, things that I can just open a general topic of conversation for. So that's what we do here. So welcome. And as the description or the title will say, I believe, I had a one-way video interview this week, which I would love to talk about and spend a little time going over the pros and cons. For that, it was a very unique experience. So let's just start with the basic updates. So I was rejected again this week. In fact, just yesterday, I received my rejection letter for a position. I had been through 2 interviews. And in my second interview, the hiring manager directly told me I was a very strong candidate. And that it might be a couple of weeks before I would hear back. Well, I heard back. I got my rejection letter yesterday. I won't read the whole thing, but the gist of it was, thank you for taking the time to interview with us. While your qualifications are impressive, we have decided to move forward with other candidates. I mean, that was it. Thank you for taking the time, but we don't want you. Now, this job was the one that would start in October for a basic customer service level position. The pay was adequate for a basic level customer service position. The job was fully remote except for 2 days in office every other month, which sounded great. I mean, it on paper seems like an almost ideal situation other than going backwards in my career. But I would do it. When you want to keep working, you want to keep working. And I was willing to consider a step backwards to hopefully find something internally. If I get a job, even an entry-level job, often there are internal opportunities. So I was really hoping for that. However, it is not to be, and I will choose to accept that and move on. I do not usually ask for feedback. This time I did. I responded requesting feedback on my interview and why they didn't hire me. Normally, that's not something I would do because often the feedback I have gotten in the past has been vague. So for internal positions, we're when I was with my former employer, internal positions would often come with feedback like, well, this person has already done this job with our company, and so we're putting someone back in the role that they're very familiar with because we already know what a great fit they are. Okay, that I can accept. One time I got feedback like, well, we just want to see you grow in your current position. Utter nonsense, because I'd already grown out of that position well, not twice. I'd grown 2 levels out of that position and was only back there because my department had been downsized, and the company graciously offered me the position to keep me employed rather than to put me through the full layoff process. I was given the option to accept the layoff and the severance package or to take another position. I chose to take the position, which in the end turned out to be the right choice for me because I did move out of that position into one I truly loved. But the feedback I got was kind of silly. It was a position that I was moderately qualified for. I understand why they chose someone else. That's not the problem. The problem was, we just want to see you grow in your current position, when I'd already grown 2 levels out of it and proven myself in the past. But then the next position I applied for, I got. So, at the end of the day, I guess no harm, no foul. Just the feedback isn't always great. And sometimes the feedback you get is appropriate for that particular job or environment and wouldn't apply to the next one. Sometimes feedback is, well, you answered this question one way and we would prefer it answered, we would have preferred a different answer. Meanwhile, that same answer got you 3 positions in the past and might be the answer that the next job is looking for. It just wasn't the right answer for this job. So I don't usually ask for feedback because I don't often find the feedback that I've gotten useful, as in the examples I've already provided. However, this time I got through 2 interviews, was told I was a strong candidate, and I'd like to know where I went wrong. What did I do or didn't I do? A friend of mine did tell me that she thinks it's because the position came down to being between myself and one other person, and they just chose to go with the other person. And that's fine. If that's the case, that I can accept. I can. I just want to know if I made some misstep that I didn't realize. So I'm interested to see what they have to say, if anything. They may not reply to me at all. What I know is that typically, if I didn't answer a question the way they would have preferred, it probably isn't the right job for me. But I was kind of looking forward to it. I was getting mentally prepared to take that role. And, it isn't to be, and that's okay. I'll see what they say and move forward. So I do have another job fair on Thursday. I'm looking forward to this one a little bit more. I checked the industries. There will be more representation there that's appropriate, or more appropriate for me than past job fairs I've attended have been. So I am kind of looking forward to seeing what's available at this one. And so I'm definitely going. I was on the fence about it. And then I read the industries that will be there, and so I went ahead and added it to my agenda for the week. So the new unemployment reporting updated this weekend, or last week through this weekend, and the new system was available on Sunday. It is so much more complicated. So way back when I was first laid off and started doing my videos on this topic, you may remember that I had talked about um, how complicated friends had told me the system was with all the different types of activities, and that you had to do a range. And you may remember my discussion about that, and then being pleasantly surprised when it was super easy. I had it down to maybe 10 to 15 minutes to get my job activities reported. Because I would basically just copy and paste right out of my spreadsheet. Uh, Easy peasy, just simple. They wanted the date, the name of the company, how you applied, and the position you applied for, and some extra notes if you had any. No longer the case. They want proof that you applied. They want contact information of whomever you've spoken with in an interview or handing in an application in person. They want the address of the employer. They want to know if the location that you're looking to work is the same address as the um, address on record. They want to know, what else? There was just this whole litany of things they want to know. So I've had to update my spreadsheet, and I highly recommend, even more than ever, keeping track of a spreadsheet with the employer's website. Even if you apply on a job board like Glassdoor, Indeed, LinkedIn, etc., the website of the employer, the corporate address, if you know that you're applying to work at a specific location, let's say you're a franchise, you're looking to work in fast food, and you want to go to work at Jack in the Box, you'll need the Jack in the Box corporate address and the physical address of the location you're looking to work at. So that has been part of my, or I've added that as part of my process. I also started adding, not just doing the match comparison between the job description and my resume, but I've started keeping track of that as well, adding a tab to my document. So my documents, using Google Docs, I'm having multiple tabs. One tab for the job description and my match score at the top, 85 to 90% or whatever. One tab for the resume I used to apply for that specific job. Because if you've seen any of my other videos, I tailor my resume each and every time. A question and answer tab for questions I would like to ask during the interviewing process, and answers to questions I might be asked during the interviewing process. Excuse me. So next, I did also add um, a tab for the AI analytics overview with where I matched, where I didn't match, what was a good fit, what the gaps were, and the overall score. I've actually found this super helpful when preparing for an interview. So, moving on to talking about interviewing, let's get into the strangest and yet maybe most practical interviewing experience ever that I've ever had. And you can tell me if you've had this experience or if you've ever had to do this kind of interview. I'd love to hear what your experience is. I've talked to some of my friends. Some have experienced this, others had not. One friend I talked to said, as soon as I get something like this, I would completely disregard the job. I, however, did not completely disregard the job. The job description looks pretty good. The pay's there. The situation is amazing. Their job description directly stated that they believe in a work from anywhere, that it's a high trust environment. They believe in trusting their employees to do the work and that they don't micromanage. And I'm loving all of that. That's a great fit for my personality and my work style. The interview was crazy. So what happened was I saw this job description. I was kind of on the fence about it. I ran my resume through. It was like a 92 to 96% match. So, but the description, the tasks and duties were kind of vague, but similar or read similar to work that I've done. So, like, well, 92% match. What's the worst that can happen? Another rejection letter? So I put in my resume, did the application, and was immediately taken to an assessment. The assessment was, I wasn't prepared for it. I had a migraine. I was just sure I had failed it. I knew I had. There were questions that didn't get answered, questions I was unsure about my answer, logic questions like what is the number that's missing from this sequence kind of thing. And I'm usually good at those, but Migraine City, I'm like, I left one completely unanswered and another one, I wasn't sure about my answer. Some of the other questions were kind of, the usual. Which one of these words is not like the others? And that kind of thing. So I got through it. I'm like, okay, it's fine. I'll just file this as don't do this when you have a migraine. 2 hours later, I got an email. Maybe not even 2 hours. It was pretty quick. Sunday, no less. Saturday. It was a Saturday. I took the assessment on a Saturday. And then I got an email saying we would love to have a one-way video interview. Here's the link. Here's the instructions. And we look forward to hearing from you. Like, well, I know I messed up the assessment, but they reached out to me anyway. Okay, I'll do it tomorrow. So I did it on Sunday, and I'm still waiting to hear back. Maybe I'll get an interview. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll get another rejection letter. I'm prepared for whatever happens. I'm treating it like a learning and experiential opportunity. So, to talk about the video interview itself, it overall wasn't bad. It was a lot like doing a YouTube video. It was literally just reading the questions and giving the answers into the camera, which was, easy. The challenging part of it was that you could only do one retake per question. And you had a time limit. So each question only had 2 minutes and the opportunity to do a single retake. The only retake I did was on the first question. And in hindsight, there are a couple of questions I think I would like to have answered differently, maybe even a little more creatively. But what's done is done. And it was just unusual not having that interaction. So the pros and cons of this are the pros. You get to just give your answer. There's no follow-up questions. There's no, there's very little anxiety. There's no person sitting there directly judging you, which is also a con. And I'll, when I get to the cons, I'll talk about that. But for someone who has a lot of anxiety or struggles through the interviewing process, I could see this method being invaluable. Just an incredible relief for some people, because it's literally just reading the question and saying the answer out loud to a camera. You don't have to have anybody else in the room. You're not reading somebody else's body language. You're not trying to assess what they're thinking about you. You're just answering the question. It was a little bit like when you see those interviews on TV where you only see the person and you don't hear the question and you just hear them talking. It's kind of like that. So another pro for that is you just get to be more relaxed and you may come across more authentic, which can be an asset, because some people mess up their interviews just simply because they're nervous. So I definitely see it alleviating the stress and anxiety of an in-person interview. From the employer's perspective, question, answer, straightforward, no conversation. I would think of it perhaps like one of those video dating profiles. I've never done one. I'm just imagining that it would be a similar experience. So from the employer's perspective, I can see that you just get to see the person's demeanor, how they answer the questions, and make an assessment without having to take an hour out of your day to do a whole in-person interview. And you can get a feel for what the candidate is like to determine if you think their personality or demeanor would be a good fit. So I definitely see the benefits of that type of interviewing. It also lets you, as the prospective employee, as the job seeker, it lets you have a moment between questions. I didn't mention that part. So once you finish answering a question, you can compose yourself and prepare for the next question for just a moment. And I found that to be kind of a relief as well, and a little better for organizing your thoughts and not just being, snap, snap, snap. Yes, we have to think on our feet. Yes, we have to be able to answer questions uh, efficiently. And it was good for that as well, because it did put a time limit, which prevents people from rambling on and on and on to answer a question. Now, when I had my hair salon, I ran into that a lot. I would interview a new stylist or a stylist candidate, and sometimes you would ask a question and they'd go on into a 10-minute story. This helps prevent that. It keeps the questions on target and the interview on topic and relevant to what they're looking for. So I thought this was kind of unique. I would do it again. I don't know that it would be my preferred interviewing style, but I'm kind of on board with it. The cons. Not a lot of time to elaborate. Not really, if there's nuance to your answer, there's not enough time to explain. Keep it short, sweet, and that can be tough when you don't know the questions that are coming at you. One of the questions that they asked that I would like to have answered differently was, what are your dreams for your life? They didn't say, what are your career aspirations? I answered it very career oriented. I would like to go back and answer that question with a little more personality and a little more of me and what my real dreams are. It's hard to know how to gauge answering that kind of question in any situation. So that that is one of the cons. The other one is, for some people, the interaction is important. Some people prefer to avoid the interaction. For others, that interaction is important. As the candidate, it did not give me any opportunities to ask any questions or get clarification on the position or the company, or just get a feel for the person who's reviewing me to let me evaluate them and get a feel for what the work environment might actually be like compared to what it looks like on paper. So that was one downside. And then, I mean, for me, that's really it. But I can live with that. I can prepare to do a different or another interview of that type. I'm not opposed to it. I don't think it's a good fit for everyone. But then that might also help determine, from the employer's perspective, how well you deal with that could determine if they really want you working for them or not, if it's if the environment's a good fit or they feel like you're a good fit for the environment. So there is that. Now, the next fun update is farmers market weekend. It's today, Tuesday. I am 4 days from my first farmers market event. And I did put my website in the description. So it's lotusleaftea.net. Again, it's in the description. So I will be out at my local farmers market in Santan Valley with tea and spices and everything nices. Tea and spices and some of my craft work, mostly resin, seasonal pieces. I have some leaf-shaped dishes and pumpkin jars and acorn jars and apple and pear jars, along with tea light holders, lotus tea light holders, incense burners, that sort of thing. So if you're interested and you want to come out and see me and chit chat, or just see what I have to offer, or just drop by and walk past my booth and judge me. I will be out there on Saturday. And I also have fully launched my website. Still has some work to be done, but it is live. I have some tea and spices already in inventory on the site. I do plan to add more things. None of my resins or any of my craft work is on there yet. It is coming. But that's why I encourage you to come out and see me in person. And I guess that is it for my updates. It is a 2 for Tuesday. I do actually have intentions of going live again a little bit later today for my customer service series. I was inspired by a video I watched earlier. I think I started watching it over the weekend. And so I'm not yet prepared to share video clips of other people's work and comment. I would like to get there, but that's not where I'm at today. But I will be doing a customer service stream here. My intention is to do it today, and if not tomorrow, but definitely this week. And other than that, I hope you all have a fantastic week. It's been a lot. Still looking for work, still trying to find side things. I'm sure you are too. Don't forget to like if you like, share if you think someone else is interested, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more of my videos and streams, and stay up to date when I post or go live. So on that note, stay blessed, stay authentic, and stay connected. I will see you next time.